The great council chamber of the Galactic Dominion stretched out like a massive metal cave. 12 different alien species sat in their floating seats, each one thinking they were better than the others. The room buzzed with angry voices and clicking sounds that passed for speech among the star travelers. Admiral Tae-min watched everything from his small screen aboard the human ship, Soul's Pride. His dark eyes showed no emotion as he listened to the aliens argue about who owned what planets. The humans were not allowed to speak in these meetings. They could only watch and listen like children who were not old enough to join adult conversations. "The Kepler 442 system belongs to the Vorthak Empire," roared Fleet Commander Vexithara. His voice sounded like grinding metal through the translation device. "We found it first. We claimed it first. The minerals are ours by right." War Prime Kel Noth of the Zalithian Commonwealth made a sound like angry cats fighting. "Your claim is false, Vorthak Dog. Our survey ships mapped those worlds 3 cycles before your crewed vessels even reached the system. The Commonwealth will not give up what is rightfully ours." Tae-min turned away from the screen. He had heard this same fight 100 times before. Different systems, different minerals, but always the same anger and pride. The aliens never learned to share or work together. They only knew how to take what they wanted by force. Captain Hyejin walked onto the bridge of Soul's Pride. Her steps were quiet, but firm. She had been the captain for 5 years now, and every day she felt the weight of representing humanity among the stars. The aliens barely saw humans as real people. To them, humans were just clever animals who had learned to build ships that could fly between planets. "Any changes in the situation, Admiral?" Hyejin asked as she took her place in the captain's chair. "No, Captain. Same as always. They argue, they threaten, they show off their big ships. In a few hours, they will start shooting at each other." Taemin's voice held tired sadness. "And we will sit here and watch like we always do, communications." Officer Ji-woo looked up from her station. "Captain, I am getting strange signals from both fleets. They are moving their biggest ships into attack positions. This might be more serious than their usual fights." Through the main window of the bridge, they could see the 2 alien fleets facing each other across empty space. The Vorthak ships looked like giant metal spears covered in spikes and weapons. Each one was over 2 kilometers long and painted in dark red colors that reminded everyone of blood. The Zalithian ships were different, smooth and white like giant eggs, but just as deadly with their hidden weapons. "How many ships are out there, Ji-woo?" Hyejin asked. "I count 47 Vorthak vessels and 52 Zalithian ships, Captain. Both sides have brought their heavy battle cruisers and planet-killer weapons." Weapons Specialist Dong-woo whistled softly. "That is enough firepower to turn a whole solar system into dust. And they are fighting over some rocks with metals in them." Engineer Kyung-ho stood up from his station and walked to the window. "Look at those ships, Captain. Each one has enough weapons to destroy 100 ships like ours. They do not even notice we are here." It was true. Soul's Pride was tiny compared to the alien warships. At only 800 meters long, it looked like a small fish swimming between 2 groups of space whales. The human ship had been built for watching and listening, not for fighting. Its weapons were basic defensive systems that could barely scratch the paint on an alien cruiser. "Captain," Ji-woo said with worry in her voice, "Fleet Commander Vexithara is demanding that we move further away from the battle area. He says human ships are too weak to survive what is coming." Hyejin felt anger rise in her chest, but she kept her face calm. "What did you tell him?" "I told him we would follow the old treaty agreements. We stay at least 50,000 kilometers from any battle, and we only watch. We do not take sides or interfere." "Good. Let them think we are harmless observers who will run away at the first sign of trouble." The bridge crew exchanged looks. There was something in their captain's voice that sounded different. Not scared or worried like usual, but almost excited. Tactical Officer Subin checked her instruments. "Captain, both fleets are charging their main weapons. Energy readings are going through the roof. When they start fighting, this whole area is going to be very dangerous for small ships like ours." "Noted, Subin. Keep monitoring their positions." Medical Officer Bora joined them on the bridge. "Captain, should I prepare the medical bay for emergency evacuation? If those aliens start shooting, we might need to leave fast." "Not yet, Bora. We have orders to observe this battle completely. Command wants a full report on how both sides fight." What the crew did not know was that Captain Haya Jin had received special orders from Earth Command just 6 hours ago. Orders that were encrypted so heavily that even she had trouble believing them when she first read them. Orders that would change everything humanity thought about their place among the stars. Pilot Min Ho called out from his station. "Captain, the Vorthak flagship is moving into attack position. War Prime Kelnoth is responding by bringing his dreadnought to the front of the Zilithian line. This is really going to happen." "Let it happen, Min Ho. Make sure we have a clear view of everything." Science Officer Wu Jin was studying readings from both fleets. "Captain, the power signatures from those ships are incredible. Some of their weapons could probably crack a moon in half. How did they get so advanced while humans are still using basic fusion drives?" It was a question that every human in space asked themselves. How had humanity fallen so far behind? When humans first met alien species 200 years ago, they discovered that Earth was like a small village compared to the great cities of space. Human technology was primitive. Human ships were slow. Human weapons were weak. The aliens had been kind at first. They gave humans some basic technology and allowed them to build ships that could travel between stars. But they also made it clear that humans were the youngest and weakest species in the galaxy. Humans could watch and learn, but they could not compete with races that had been traveling space for thousands of years. "Captain," Jiwoo announced, "both fleet commanders are making final announcements to their crews. Fleet Commander Vexathara says the Zilithians will burn for their lives. War Prime Kelnoth promises to crush the Vorthak dogs into space dust." "Same old threats," Dongwu muttered. "Do they ever get tired of calling each other names?" "Apparently not," Hyajin replied. She stood up and walked to the main window. "Jiwoo, open a channel to both fleets." "Captain, open the channel." Jiwoo's fingers danced over her controls. "Channel open, Captain." "This is Captain Hyjin of the human vessel Soul's Pride. We are here as neutral observers under the Galactic Treaty of 2387. We will not interfere in your conflict, but we ask that both sides remember that this system has civilian populations that could be hurt by your battle." The response came quickly from Fleet Commander Vexathara. His translated voice was full of scorn. "Humans should not speak when adults are talking. Keep your small ship far away, little mammals, or it might get broken." War Prime Kelnoth added his own insult. "The Commonwealth agrees with the Vorthak dog for once. Human observers are barely worth noticing. Do not worry, primitive ones. We will try not to step on your tiny vessel by accident." Both alien fleets erupted in laughter that sounded like mechanical noise through the translation systems. To them, humans talking was as funny as listening to pets try to speak. Captain Hyejin smiled as she closed the channel. Let them laugh now. Let them think humans were weak and stupid and harmless. Very soon, the whole galaxy would learn what humanity had really been doing during their 2 centuries of observation. The battle was about to begin, and everything was going according to plan. The first shots lit up space like angry stars being born. Vorthak plasma cannons fired streams of purple energy that could melt through solid rock. Zilithian quantum disruptors answered with beams of white light that made the darkness disappear. For miles around, the battle for Kepler 442 had begun. Captain Hyejin watched from Soul's Pride as the 2 alien fleets crashed into each other like giant metal storms. Energy shields flashed bright colors when weapons hit them. Some shots got through and carved holes in ship hulls the size of buildings. Pieces of destroyed fighters drifted past the human vessel like deadly snow. "Captain, the energy readings are off the charts," Science Officer Wu Jin reported. "Some of those weapons are releasing more power than our entire ship uses in a year." "Keep recording everything, Wu Jin. Command wants detailed information about their weapons and tactics." Communications Officer Ji Wu was listening to the alien battle communications. "Captain, Fleet Commander Vexathara is ordering his ships to focus fire on the Zilithian flagship. War Prime Kel Noth is telling his captains to target the Vorthak supply ships first." The battle was both beautiful and terrible to watch. The alien ships moved like dancers in a deadly performance. Vorthak cruisers charged forward with their weapons blazing, while Zilithian vessels used their speed to circle around and attack from behind. Explosions bloomed like flowers made of fire and metal. Admiral Tae Min stood next to Captain Hia Jin at the main window. "They fight well, but they fight like they always have. Same tactics, same weapons, same mistakes. They never learn anything new. That is what makes them predictable," Hia Jin replied quietly. A soft beeping sound came from the communication station. Jiwoo looked surprised as she checked her instruments. "Captain, I am receiving a priority message from Earth Command. The encryption is very high level. Put it through to my private channel." Hia Jin walked to her personal communication station and put on her headset. The message that came through made her heart beat faster. It was only 3 words long, but those 3 words would change the history of the galaxy. "Execute Order 7. She took off the headset and looked at her crew. They were all busy watching the alien battle and recording data. None of them knew what Order 7 meant. Only captains and admirals knew about the secret orders that had been prepared for this exact situation. "Jiwoo, confirm that message came from Earth Command Central?" "Confirmed, Captain. Voice print matches Admiral Kim Suho and the encryption. Codes are valid." Hia Jin nodded. She had been waiting for this moment for 5 years. All the watching, all the recording, all the insults from alien species who thought humans were too primitive to matter. It was all about to change. "Kyung-ho, I need you to activate the Omega systems." Engineer Kyung-ho stopped what he was doing and stared at his captain. "Captain, did you say Omega systems?" "You heard correctly. Full activation, all levels." "But Captain, those systems have never been tested in real combat. We do not even know if they will work properly." "They will work, Kyung-ho. Earth Command has been very thorough." The engineer hesitated for a moment, then moved to a special panel that was usually covered by a metal plate. He removed the plate and placed his hand on a scanner. Green lights began flashing as systems that had been sleeping for years started to wake up. "Captain," Weapons Specialist Dongwoo called out, "something strange is happening to our power grid. Energy levels are climbing way past normal limits." "That is normal, Dongwoo. Stand by for weapons system activation." "Weapons system activation?" "Captain, our weapons are just basic defense lasers. They could not hurt those alien ships if we fired for 100 years. Hia Jin smiled. "Check your weapons panel again, Dongwoo." The weapons specialist looked down at his instruments and gasped. His panel was showing weapon systems he had never seen before, names and power ratings that should not exist on a human ship. "Captain, these readings cannot be right. This says we have weapons that are more powerful than anything the aliens have." "Those readings are correct." Pilot Minho was staring at his own controls with confusion. "Captain, my engine display has changed too. It shows we can move 3 times faster than our maximum speed. How is that possible?" "All of your stations will show new capabilities now, crew. For the past 5 years, you have been flying on a ship that was much more than it appeared to be." Tactical Officer Subin was studying her new readings with amazement. "Captain, these sensor systems, they are showing me details about the alien ships that should be impossible to detect. I can see weak points in their armor, flaws in their shield patterns, even the locations of their weapon power systems." Battle continued to rage outside, while the crew of Soul's Pride discovered that their ship was not what they thought it was. The vessel they had served on for years had been hiding secrets that would shock the entire galaxy. Medical Officer Bo-Ra joined them on the bridge. "Captain, I felt the ship's power systems change. Is everything all right?" "Everything is perfect." "Bo-Ra! Ji-Woo! Open a channel to both alien fleets." "Captain, are you sure? They told us not to bother them during the battle." "Open the channel." Ji-Woo activated the communication system. Both alien fleets were busy fighting each other, but their commanders would hear any message sent on emergency frequencies. "This is Captain Hai-Jin of the human vessel Soul's Pride. By authority of the Terran Defense Coalition, this system is now under human protection. All hostile actions will cease immediately." The response came quickly. Fleet Commander Vexithara's translated voice was full of angry laughter. "Stupid humans think they can give orders to real warriors? Your little ship should run home before it gets hurt." War Prime Kelnoth added his own mockery. "The Commonwealth agrees with the Vorthak fool. Humans are too weak to protect anything. Go play with your toys somewhere else, children." Both alien fleets continued their battle as if the human message was just a funny joke. Energy weapons continued to flash between the warships. More fighters exploded into clouds of metal and fire. Captain Hai-Jin was not surprised by their response. She had expected the aliens to laugh at her. They had been laughing at humans for 200 years, but the laughter was about to stop forever. "Dongwu, select one target from each fleet, something small and fast." "Captain, we cannot hurt their ships with our weapons. Select the targets, Dongwu." The weapons specialist chose 2 alien fighters that were dancing around each other, firing rapid bursts of energy. They were small, fast ships designed to avoid getting hit by larger weapons. "Targets. Selected, Captain. Fire!" Dongwu pressed the firing controls, expecting to see the same weak laser beams that Soul's Pride had always used. Instead, 2 beams of silver light shot out from the human ship. The beams moved so fast they seemed to appear instantly on target. Both alien fighters simply disappeared. No explosion, no debris, no emergency signals. One second they were there, the next second they were gone as if they had never existed. The entire battle stopped. Every alien ship in both fleets turned their sensors toward the small human vessel that had just done something impossible. The silence on all communication channels was so complete that it felt heavy. Fleet Commander Vexithara was the first to break the silence. What kind of weapon was that?" Captain Hai-Jin's voice was calm and steady as she replied. "That was a demonstration. This is your final warning. Withdraw from this system immediately or face the consequences of underestimating humanity for the last 2 centuries. War Prime. Kelnoth's voice shook with confusion and fear. "Impossible. Humans do not have weapons like that. Your technology is primitive. Your ships are weak." "Our ships are exactly what we wanted you to think they were," Hai-Jin replied. "We have been watching you fight for 200 years. We studied every battle, analyzed every weapon, recorded every tactic. We learned from your strengths and your mistakes. And while you were laughing at us, we were preparing." A Vorthak cruiser moved toward Soul's Pride with its weapons charging. "Human lies will not save you now," Fleet Commander Vexithara growled. "One of my heavy cruisers will show you the difference between real power and cheap tricks." Captain Hai-Jin nodded to her weapons specialist. "Dongwu, show them the difference between old thinking and new possibilities." The Vorthak cruiser fired everything it had at the human ship. Plasma cannons, missile batteries, and energy torpedoes all struck Soul's Pride at the same time. The attack was powerful enough to destroy a small moon, but Soul's Pride did not explode. It did not even seem to notice the attack. The human ship's shields absorbed every hit without even flickering. Then Soul's Pride fired back. What happened next would be talked about in every corner of the galaxy for generations to come. The human ship did not just return fire. It took the alien weapons apart piece by piece with surgical precision that seemed impossible. Every shot found exactly the right spot to cause maximum damage with minimum effort. In 30 seconds, the Vorthak heavy cruiser was floating dead in space, all of its weapons destroyed and its engines offline. But the ship's crew was still alive, and the hull was not breached. "This is your final warning," Captain Hyojin announced to both fleets. "Leave this system now, or learn why humanity was content to watch and wait for so long." Neither alien fleet withdrew. Pride and disbelief kept them frozen in space, staring at the small human ship that had just done the impossible. Fleet Commander Vexithara could not accept that his heavy cruiser had been defeated so easily. War Prime. Kelnoth refused to believe that primitive humans possessed such advanced weapons. "This must be some kind of trick," Vexithara announced over the communication channels. "Humans are not capable of real warfare. That was just luck. Or maybe they stole some advanced technology from a real military species." The Vorthak fool is right about something, Kelnoth replied. "These humans are bluffing. One lucky shot does not make them warriors. The Commonwealth will show them what real power looks like." Captain Hyojin listened to their words and shook her head sadly. Even when faced with proof of human capabilities, the aliens could not let go of their old beliefs. They would rather die than admit they had been wrong about humanity. "Subin, how many ships are moving toward our position?" Tactical Officer Subin checked her new sensors, which showed her details about alien vessels that seemed almost magical. 12 Vorthak ships and 15 Zilithian vessels are changing course to attack us, Captain. They are spreading out to surround us. Their shields and weapons status? All ships have full shields and weapons charged to maximum power. They are not taking any chances with us now," Engineer Kyung-ho called out from his station. "Captain, all Omega systems are running at optimal levels. Whatever we are going to do, the ship is ready for it." "Good. Min-ho, take us toward the center of both fleets." Pilot Min-ho looked back at his captain with surprise. "Captain, that will put us directly between both alien forces. If they all shoot at us at the same time, they are going to shoot at us anyway, Min-ho. At least this way we can reach more targets." The crew watched in amazement as Sol's pride began to move in ways that should have been impossible. The ship accelerated smoothly to speeds that their old engines could never reach. It turned and twisted through space like a living thing instead of a machine made of metal and circuits. "How are we moving like this?" Min-ho asked as he guided the ship through maneuvers that broke every rule of physics he knew. "Human engineering has come a long way in the past 50 years, Captain Hyojin replied. "We learned to think about space travel in completely new ways, while the aliens stayed stuck with old ideas. The alien ships opened fire from all directions. Plasma bolts, energy beams, and explosive missiles filled the space around Sol's Pride like a deadly light show. The combined firepower was enough to crack a planet's surface, but the human ship danced between the attacks as if it knew where every shot would be before it was fired. "Captain, their targeting systems cannot lock onto us," weapons specialist Dongwu reported with excitement. "It is like we are invisible to their sensors, even though they can see us with their eyes." "That is exactly right, Dongwu. Our hull design scatters their targeting beams in directions they do not expect. They are trying to hit a target that their computers cannot properly track." Some alien shots did hit Sol's Pride, but the human ship's shields absorbed the attacks and glowed with blue energy that grew brighter with each impact. Instead of weakening under the bombardment, the human vessel seemed to be gaining power from the alien weapons. "Incredible, Science Officer," Wu Jin whispered as he watched his energy readings climb higher and higher. "Captain, our shields are not just blocking their attacks. They are absorbing the energy and feeding it back into our power systems." "Another human innovation, Wu Jin. Why waste good energy when you can use it to make yourself stronger?" War Prime. Kelnoth's voice crackled over the communication system, filled with anger and growing fear. "Impossible! No shield technology can absorb quantum disruptor energy. What kind of science are you using? Captain Hyejin smiled as she replied. The kind of science that comes from studying your weapons for 200 years and figuring out how to turn them against you. A group of Vorthak fighters swarmed around Soul's Pride, trying to attack from close range where their small weapons might find weak spots in the human shields. But as they closed in, something unexpected happened. Their own weapons began to malfunction. Targeting systems failed, power cores overloaded, and weapon batteries shut down automatically. What is happening to our ships? Fleet Commander Vexithara demanded. We are introducing small changes to the electromagnetic fields around your vessels, Captain Hyejin explained calmly. Your weapons are very powerful, but they depend on precise electronic controls. Change those controls just a little bit, and your guns become useless. The disabled Vorthak fighters drifted helplessly as their pilots tried to restart systems that refused to work. They were not destroyed or damaged, just completely unable to fight. This is not possible, one Vorthak pilot transmitted on an emergency channel. My weapons are shutting down by themselves. My targeting computer says there are no valid targets, even though the human ship is right in front of me. Zilithian ships tried a different approach. Instead of using energy weapons, they launched physical missiles that could not be confused by electronic interference. Hundreds of explosive warheads raced toward Soul's Pride from all directions. Captain, incoming missile swarm, Subin announced. Impact in 30 seconds. Dongwu, demonstrate our point defense system. The weapons specialist activated systems he had never seen before. Tiny beams of focused energy shot out from Soul's Pride in every direction. Each beam was perfectly aimed and incredibly precise. One by one, the alien missiles began to explode while they were still thousands of kilometers away from the human ship. But these were not random explosions. Each missile was destroyed at exactly the right moment and in exactly the right way to send debris flying back toward the ships that had launched them. The aliens found themselves being hit by pieces of their own weapons. Impossible! War Prime Kel Noth screamed. You turned our missiles against us. How did you calculate those? Trajectories so quickly? We did not calculate them, Kel Noth. Our computers did. While your species was content to use the same tactics for centuries, humans developed artificial intelligence systems that can think faster than any biological brain. A massive Zilithian dreadnought moved into position and charged its planet killer weapon. The energy buildup was so intense that it made nearby space glow with radiation. This was a weapon designed to destroy entire worlds, and it was aimed directly at Soul's Pride. Captain, that dreadnought is preparing to fire its main gun, Subin reported. If that hits us, it will not hit us, Subin. Dongwu, target that dreadnought's weapon system. Show them what precision means. Soul's Pride fired a single beam of silver energy. The beam was so narrow and focused that it looked like a perfectly straight line drawn across space. It struck the Zilithian dreadnought's main weapon just as the alien ship was about to fire. The result was spectacular. The dreadnought's own planet-killer energy, instead of shooting forward, erupted inside the ship's weapon systems. The massive vessel shook as internal explosions tore through its gun decks, but the explosions were carefully controlled. The ship was disabled, not destroyed. The crew was safe, but their most powerful weapon was completely useless. You turned our own weapon against us, War Prime Kel Noth whispered in shock. We simply encouraged your weapon to fire in a direction that would be more educational for you, Captain Hyejin replied. More alien ships tried to attack, but each attempt ended the same way. Vorthak plasma cannons were redirected to melt their own shield generators. Zilithian fighters found their engines shutting down when they tried to approach the human vessel. Heavy cruisers discovered that their targeting computers could only see their own fleetmates as valid targets. Stop this! Fleet Commander Vexthera roared. What do you want from us? We want you to leave this system and never return, Captain, Hyejin answered. We want you to go back to your governments and tell them that humanity is no longer content to be observers. We want you to spread the word that humans are now players in the galactic community, not pets to be laughed at. And if we refuse, then we will continue this demonstration until you change your minds. We can keep this up for as long as necessary. Our weapons do not run out of power, our shields grow stronger with each attack, and our computers are learning more about your capabilities every second. The alien fleets hung in space, unsure of what to do next. Their most powerful weapons had been turned against them. Their best tactics had been anticipated and countered. The small human ship had made their mighty war fleets look like children playing with toys. This changes everything, War Prime Kelnoth transmitted on a private channel to Fleet Commander Vex Thara. If humans have this level of technology, then every military balance in the galaxy has shifted. I know, Vex Thara replied grimly. The question is, what do we do about it? Captain He-Jin had been listening to their private communications through systems the aliens did not know existed. She opened a channel to both fleet commanders. Vex Thara, Kelnoth, you are both experienced military leaders. You understand what this demonstration means. Humanity has been preparing for this moment for 2 centuries. We are not your enemies, but we will no longer accept being treated as inferior. The demonstration had lasted only 20 minutes, but it felt like hours to the alien crews floating helplessly in their disabled ships. Hundreds of warriors who had never known defeat now stared at instrument panels that refused to work and weapons that would not fire. The small human vessel continued to circle through both fleets like a predator showing mercy to its prey. Fleet Commander Vex Thara tried one last desperate attack. He ordered his remaining functional ships to ram Soul's Pride directly, if their weapons would not work. Perhaps they could destroy the human vessel by crashing into it with the mass of their heavy cruisers. Captain, 6 Vorthak ships are accelerating toward us on collision courses, Tactical Officer Subin reported. They are not firing weapons. They intend to ram us. Understood, Subin. Min-Ho, show them why ramming attacks do not work against human engineering. Pilot Min-Ho's hands moved over controls that still seemed magical to him. Soul's Pride began to move in ways that broke every law of physics the crew thought they knew. The ship did not just dodge the attacking cruisers. It seemed to slide sideways through space, turn completely around while moving forward, and change direction without slowing down. The Vorthak ships crashed into each other instead of hitting their target. Metal screamed against metal as the massive vessels tangled together in a slow-motion collision that left them spinning helplessly through space. How did we just do that? Min-Ho asked in amazement. Gravity manipulation, Min-Ho. Instead of pushing against space with rocket engines, we learned to bend space itself around our ship. The aliens are still using technology that is thousands of years old. Engineer Kyung-Ho looked up from his readings with excitement. Captain, the power systems are running better than our best simulations predicted. We could keep this up for days without any strain on the ship. Good, because this is just the beginning. War Prime Kelnoth decided to try a different approach. Instead of attacking, he ordered his ships to retreat to a safe distance and call for reinforcements. Surely the Commonwealth had other fleets that could deal with this impossible human vessel. Captain, the Zilithian ships are withdrawing, Subin reported. But I am detecting quantum communication signals. They are calling for backup. How many ships are they calling? From what I can intercept, it looks like they are requesting 3 full battle fleets. That would be over 200 ships. Communications Officer Ji Woo looked worried. Captain, can we handle that many enemies at once? Captain Hyojin smiled and walked to her command chair. Ji Woo, open a secure channel to Earth Command. Channel open, Captain. Earth Command, this is Soul's Pride, requesting immediate deployment of Task Force Alpha. The reply came within seconds. Soul's Pride, this is Admiral Kim Soo-ho. Task Force Alpha is already in position and awaiting your signal. Deploy all units, Admiral. It is time to show the galaxy what humanity has really been building. Confirmed, Captain. Deploying now. Good hunting. The crew of Soul's Pride stared at their captain in confusion. Task Force Alpha? They had never heard of any other human. Military units in this area of space. Captain, Science Officer Wu Jin asked carefully, what is Task Force Alpha? Look at your long-range sensors, Wu Jin. The science officer checked his instruments and gasped. Captain, I am reading multiple contacts appearing throughout the system. They are human ships, dozens of them. All around the Kepler 442 system, space began to shimmer and bend as cloaking fields shut down. Human vessels that had been invisible and undetectable suddenly appeared like ghosts becoming solid. Each ship was similar to Soul's Pride, but designed for different purposes. Some were sleek and fast, others were massive and heavily armed. How many ships are there? Pilot Minho asked in a whisper. 53 combat vessels, Subin replied, her voice filled with awe. All human design, all using technology I have never seen before. Captain, how long have these ships been here? Some of them have been in position for months, others for years. Humanity has been preparing for this moment much longer than any of you realized. The alien fleets watched in growing horror as more and more human ships revealed themselves. These were not the small observation vessels that aliens were used to seeing. These were warships built with 2 centuries of careful planning and advanced engineering. Fleet Commander Vexithara's voice shook as he transmitted to his remaining functional ships. How many humans are there? Where did they get ships like these? Captain Hae-jin answered him directly. There are exactly as many of us as we need there to be, Vexithara. As for where we got these ships, we built them. While you were laughing at human primitive technology, we were developing sciences that your species never imagined. A new voice joined the communication channel. It was Admiral Tae Min, but now he was speaking from the bridge of a massive human dreadnought that dwarfed even the largest alien vessels. This is Admiral Tae Min, aboard the TDCS New Seoul. To all alien forces in this system, you are now surrounded by the human fleet. Your governments will be contacted within the hour to begin immediate peace negotiations. War Prime Kelnoth's voice was barely a whisper. Peace negotiations? What kind of peace can there be when you have weapons like these? The kind of peace that comes from mutual respect instead of fear, Admiral Tae Min replied. Humanity does not want to rule the galaxy, Kelnoth. We want to be treated as equals. Medical Officer Bo-Ra had been quietly listening to everything while preparing emergency medical supplies. Now she spoke up with a question that was bothering her. Captain, if we have had all this advanced technology for so long, why did we pretend to be weak? Why did we let the aliens treat us badly for 200 years? Captain Hae-jin turned to face her crew. They all deserved to know the truth about humanity's long plan. Because we needed time to learn, Bo-Ra. When humans first met alien species, we really were primitive compared to them. But instead of trying to fight battles we could not win, our leaders chose a different path. They decided that humanity would watch and learn and prepare. For 200 years, Engineer Kyung-ho asked, for as long as it took. Every insult, every moment of being treated like children, every time we were told to stay quiet while adults were talking. All of that was the price we paid for knowledge. We studied every alien technology, analyzed every battle, recorded every weakness. We learned patience, and patience taught us wisdom. Weapons Specialist Dong Wu looked at his control panel, which now showed weapons that could destroy entire fleets. But Captain, we could have revealed these capabilities years ago. Why wait until now? Because we were not ready until now, Dong Wu. It was not enough to build better weapons or faster ships. We had to build a complete understanding of how galactic politics work. We had to wait for the right moment when our actions would have the maximum impact. And this is that moment? Tactical Officer Subin asked. This is that moment. two major galactic powers fighting over resources while treating smaller species like servants. The perfect opportunity to show everyone that the old ways of thinking are over. The human fleet had completely surrounded both alien forces. The Vorthak and Zilithian ships found themselves trapped in the middle of a formation that could destroy them easily, but instead seemed content to simply watch and wait. "What happens now?" Fleet Commander Vexithara asked. "Now you make a choice," Captain He-Jin replied. "You can accept that humanity has earned its place as an equal partner in galactic affairs, or you can try to fight a war against an enemy that knows everything about your capabilities while you know nothing about ours." "And if we choose to fight," Admiral Taman answered from his dreadnought, "then you will lose, and your defeat will serve as an example to every other species that might choose the path of aggression over cooperation." War Prime Kelnoth was quiet for a long moment before speaking. "What do you want from the Commonwealth? We want formal recognition of human sovereignty over our territories. We want an end to the restrictions that have kept humans out of galactic trade and politics. We want respect, not conquest. And from the Vorthak Empire?" Fleet Commander Vexthara asked. "The same terms, Vexthara. Humanity is offering partnership, not domination." The alien commanders knew they had no real choice. Their fleets were disabled, surrounded, and completely outmatched. But more than that, they were beginning to understand that humanity had planned this moment with incredible care and wisdom. "The Commonwealth will consider your terms," War Prime Kelnoth announced. "The Vorthak Empire will also consider," Fleet Commander Vexithara added reluctantly. "Good," Captain He-Jin replied. "Your governments have 12 hours to respond. During that time, human medical ships will assist with repairs to your vessels and treatment for any injured crew members." "You would help us after we attacked you?" Kelnoth asked in surprise. "That is what civilized species do for each other," Admiral Taman answered. "Perhaps it is time for all of us to remember what civilization really means. As human medical and repair ships moved toward the disabled alien vessels, the crew of Soul's Pride finally began to understand the true scope of what they had just witnessed. This had not been a battle. It had been a graduation ceremony, with humanity finally taking its place among the adult civilizations of the galaxy. 6 hours after the demonstration ended, representatives from 12 galactic governments were scrambling to reach the Kepler 442 system. News of humanity's revelation had spread through quantum communication networks faster than anyone thought possible. The small species that everyone had ignored for 2 centuries had just proven they possessed the most advanced military technology in the galaxy. Captain Haye-Jin stood in the conference room aboard Soul's Pride, watching diplomatic shuttles arrive from across known space. Each shuttle carried ambassadors who had never bothered to learn human names or customs, but who now desperately needed to understand what humanity wanted. "Captain, the Galactic Council has requested an emergency session," Communications Officer Ji Woo reported. "They want human representatives to attend immediately." "Tell them we will send someone when we are ready, not when they demand it," Ye-Jin replied calmly. "For 200 years, we waited for them to be ready to listen. Now they can wait for us." The first human ambassador to arrive was So Young, a woman whose calm appearance hid one of the sharpest political minds in human space. She had been preparing for this moment her entire career, studying alien psychology and diplomatic customs while waiting for the day when humans would finally have real power to back up their words. "Captain He-Jin, congratulations on a perfect execution," Ambassador So Young said as she boarded Soul's Pride. "Earth Command reports that the demonstration has achieved exactly the results we hoped for." "What is the political situation, Ambassador?" "Chaos, mostly. Half the galactic governments are panicking about human military capabilities. The other half are trying to figure out how to make alliance deals before their rivals do. Nobody wants to be on the wrong side of humanity's new position." Science Officer Wu Jin looked up from his station with a question that had been bothering him. Ambassador, how did Earth Command know this confrontation would happen at exactly the right time? So Young smiled. We did not know, Wu Jin, but we were prepared for it to happen at any time over the past 5 years. Every human observation ship has been equipped with the same capabilities as Soul's Pride. Every human captain has been ready to execute Order 7 when the opportunity presented itself. So any human ship could have done what we did? Pilot Minho asked. Any human ship, any human crew, any time the situation was right. Captain Hyajin just happened to be in the right place when two major powers decided to fight over territory, instead of sharing it peacefully. Admiral Taemin's voice came through the communication system from his flagship. Ambassador So Young, we have confirmation that both the Vorthak Empire and Zelithian Commonwealth have agreed to immediate ceasefire and diplomatic negotiations. Excellent news, Admiral. What about the other galactic powers? The Centauri. Federation has requested immediate trade negotiations with humanity. The Andromedan Alliance is offering us 3 star systems as a gesture of friendship. The Rigel Consortium wants to discuss technology-sharing agreements. Captain Hyajin was not surprised by the sudden change in alien attitudes. Fear was a powerful teacher, but it was also temporary. The real test would be whether humanity could turn this moment of shock into lasting respect and cooperation. Captain, Tactical Officer Subin called out, I am detecting a massive fleet approaching the system, over 500 ships from at least 8 different species. Are they hostile? No, Captain. They are transmitting diplomatic codes and requesting permission to observe the peace negotiations. Ambassador So Young nodded with satisfaction. They want to see how humanity handles victory. Everyone in the galaxy is watching to learn whether humans will be conquerors or partners. The answer came when human medical ships finished repairing the damaged Vorthak and Zelithian vessels. Instead of keeping the alien fleets disabled, humanity had restored their ships to full working condition and even improved some of their systems with human technology. Fleet Commander Vexathera transmitted his gratitude with obvious confusion. Human vessels, why did you repair our ships? We attacked you. By military tradition, you should have kept us helpless. Captain Hyajin replied personally. Because keeping you helpless would have made us conquerors, Vexathara. We want partners, not slaves. War Prime Kelnoth added his own puzzled thanks. The Commonwealth does not understand human logic. You had us completely defeated, yet you show us mercy and offer friendship. This is not how galactic politics usually work. That is exactly why galactic politics need to change, Kelnoth. Ambassador So Young answered. Humanity believes that strength should be used to protect cooperation, not to force submission. The formal peace negotiations began aboard the human flagship New Soul. Representatives from every major galactic power sat around a conference table that had been specially designed for this historic moment. For the first time in galactic history, humans sat as equals among the alien delegates. The negotiations lasted 3 days, but the outcome was never really in doubt. Humanity held all the advantages, but they used their power wisely. Instead of demanding tribute or territory, humans asked for recognition of their sovereign rights and an end to the restrictions that had kept them out of galactic society. The terms are surprisingly generous, admitted Councillor Vethron of the Rigel Consortium. Humanity could have demanded much more. We do not want much more, Ambassador So Young replied. We want what every species deserves. The right to chart our own course among the stars. Engineer Kyung-ho had spent the 3 days studying the alien reactions to human technology demonstrations. Captain, they are all trying to figure out how our science works, but they are asking the wrong questions. What do you mean? They keep asking about our weapons and engines and shields, but those are just tools. They do not understand that our real advantage is how we think about problems. Captain Hee-jin nodded. That is correct, Kyung-ho. We did not become powerful by building better guns. We became powerful by learning patience, cooperation, and long-term planning. The negotiations concluded with the signing of the Kepler Accords, a treaty that formally recognized humanity as a major, galactic power with full rights and responsibilities. But more important than the legal language was the change in how alien species looked at humans. The galaxy will never be the same, War Prime Kelnoth observed as he prepared to return to Commonwealth space. Humanity has proven that patient. Observation can be more powerful than aggressive expansion. Fleet Commander Vexathara agreed reluctantly. The Vorthak Empire has learned a valuable lesson about underestimating other species. We will not make that mistake again. As the alien fleets departed and the diplomatic shuttles returned to their home worlds, Captain Hai Jin found herself back on the bridge of Soul's Pride. Her ship looked the same as it had before the battle, but everything had changed. "Captain, what happens to us now?" Medical Officer Bora asked. "Are we still observers, or are we something else?" "We are whatever humanity needs us to be, Bora. The age of observation is over, but the age of learning never ends." Communications. Officer Jiwoo received a priority message from Earth Command. "Captain, we have new orders. Earth Command wants us to establish the first human embassy in the Galactic Council chambers." "And after that?" "After that, Captain, we explore the galaxy as equals instead of observers. We make new friends, discover new worlds, and show everyone that humanity's greatest strength was never our weapons or our ships." "What was it then?" Weapons Specialist Dongwu asked. Captain Haye Jin looked out at the stars that no longer seemed so distant or forbidden. "Our greatest strength is our ability to learn from everyone we meet, even from those who do not respect us, especially from those who do not respect us." The crew of Soul's Pride had witnessed the end of one age and the beginning of another. Humanity had spent 2 centuries in the shadows, watching and learning and preparing. Now they would spend the next 2 centuries, and many more after that, as leaders and teachers and partners in the great community of galactic civilization. The warning that had echoed through space, "A human war vessel has entered the battleground," would be remembered not as a threat, but as an announcement. The announcement that humanity was no longer content to watch from the sidelines while others shaped the future of the galaxy. From now on, humans would help write that future themselves. Admiral. Taemin's final log entry captured the moment perfectly. Today, humanity graduated from students to teachers. The galaxy is about to learn what we have known all along, that true strength comes not from the power to destroy, but from the wisdom to build something better. The stars that had once seemed so vast and unreachable now felt like home. And, for the first time in 2 centuries, humans were no longer visitors in that home. They belonged there.